Most people believe the most dangerous moment in nature is the attack itself. The teeth, the claws, the impact. But survivors of real animal attacks almost always describe something completely different first. Silence. An unnatural silence so deep that the human brain struggles to process what is happening. Because when nature truly decides to strike, it rarely gives warnings. It removes them. And that is what makes these encounters so terrifying. Not the violence alone, but the realization that for a few seconds, a human being suddenly stops feeling like the dominant species on Earth. A woman named Val Plumwood once described the exact moment she understood this. It happened in northern Australia, inside Kakadu National Park. The morning felt ordinary. Humid air, still water, the quiet sound of a canoe moving slowly across a river that looked almost peaceful. She had crossed rivers before. She understood wildlife. She respected nature. But nothing prepared her for the instant the water exploded beneath her canoe. A saltwater crocodile launched upward with such force that her brain couldn't even identify the animal at first. 1 second she was floating peacefully, and the next she was underwater, trapped inside a spinning chaos of mud, pressure, scales, and absolute confusion. What survivors almost never explain is how quickly the human body abandons logic during moments like these. Your thoughts do not become heroic. They become primitive. The nervous system shuts down unnecessary reasoning and replaces it with survival impulses older than civilization itself. Scientists who study fear responses call this amygdala hijacking. Your body reacts before your conscious mind understands the danger. And in predator encounters, that delay can decide everything. Val later described feeling something even worse than fear: irrelevance. As the crocodile dragged her underwater repeatedly, she realized nature was not angry at her. It did not hate her. She was simply meat inside an ecosystem that had been operating for millions of years before humans existed. That realization shattered something deep inside her understanding of humanity. Because most people move through life believing they are outside the food chain, until one moment proves they never were. And crocodiles are terrifying precisely because they evolved to exploit that illusion. Researchers studying Crocodilus porosus, the saltwater crocodile, documented explosive strikes capable of generating immense force within fractions of a second. Their bodies are designed almost entirely around ambush efficiency. Eyes above water, nostrils hidden, minimal movement, silence. They are not hunters that chase. They wait. And evolution made waiting one of the deadliest weapons on Earth. But crocodiles are not the only animals that expose how fragile humans truly are. In Africa, along the Zambezi River, a tour guide named Paul Templar experienced something so surreal that even doctors struggled to believe parts of his story afterward. He had spent years around wildlife, years reading rivers, currents, and animal behavior. That confidence disappeared in seconds when a hippopotamus surfaced directly beneath his canoe. Most people think of hippos as oversized herbivores. Slow, almost comical. But wildlife experts consistently rank them among the deadliest large animals in Africa. Not because they hunt humans, but because they react with explosive territorial aggression. Their bodies can weigh over 3,000 pounds, yet they move through water with terrifying speed and precision. Paul barely had time to react before the animal attacked. The canoe shattered. Water erupted everywhere. Then came the impossible moment. The hippo swallowed him whole from the waist up. Imagine the darkness of that second. The smell of river water and blood. Crushing pressure closing around your chest. Total disorientation. He later said he could hear his own heartbeat echoing inside the animal's mouth. Then suddenly, the hippo released him. Not out of mercy. It simply repositioned him to attack again. People love survival stories because they imagine courage arriving dramatically in moments of danger. But survivors often describe the opposite. They describe confusion, fragmented thoughts, tiny irrational details burned permanently into memory. Paul remembered sunlight reflecting on the water. He remembered the silence between attacks. He remembered wondering if anyone would recover his body for his family to bury. That is what nature does to the human mind. It strips away every illusion of control until all that remains is instinct. And sharks may understand human instinct better than any predator alive. Rodney Fox was an experienced diver in Australia when a great white shark attacked him in 1963. Witnesses described the water instantly turning red. The shark struck with such force that it ripped his diving equipment apart and exposed parts of his rib cage. Yet Rodney survived, and what he described afterward changed how many researchers understood predatory behavior. He said the shark did not appear enraged. It appeared curious. That detail unsettled marine biologists for years. Because humans instinctively interpret attacks emotionally. We imagine anger, aggression, malice, but apex predators often operate through investigation, testing, evaluation. The shark was not evil. It was trying to understand what Rodney was. And that idea terrifies people far more deeply than simple violence. Because it suggests nature does not recognize human importance the way humans do. Researchers studying great white sharks discovered something deeply unsettling about human perception underwater. Most victims never see the attack coming because the shark approaches from below, where sunlight blinds the surface observer. Your brain physically cannot process the danger in time. Evolution designed sharks to exploit visual limitations built directly into prey species, including us. That is why ocean fear feels different from fear on land. The human brain hates uncertainty beneath the body. Neuroscientists studying fear responses discovered that humans experience elevated stress when unable to visually monitor what exists below them. Deep water activates ancient survival circuitry linked to hidden predators. Even people who have never encountered sharks often feel it instinctively. Your body remembers dangers your conscious mind never experienced. And nowhere does that ancient fear become more real than in forests. In 1967, Glacier National Park experienced one of the most horrifying nights in American wildlife history. 2 separate grizzly bear attacks occurred in different campgrounds during the same night. Both victims were young women. Both attacks happened while people slept. The event became known as the Night of the Grizzlies. What made the incident so psychologically devastating was not just the attacks themselves, but what they revealed about human arrogance around wild spaces. For years, tourists had treated bears almost like entertainment, feeding them, photographing them from dangerously close distances, turning apex predators into roadside attractions. Then nature corrected the illusion all at once. Survivors described hearing sounds outside tents that did not initially register as danger. Heavy breathing, footsteps, low movement through darkness. The human brain constantly tries to normalize unfamiliar sounds before accepting fear. And sometimes that hesitation becomes fatal. Wildlife researchers later discovered that food conditioning had fundamentally altered bear behavior in the area. Human carelessness unintentionally reshaped predator instincts. The attacks were not random acts of savagery. They were ecological consequences. That truth appears again and again throughout history. Humans believe they are controlling nature when often they are simply teaching it new ways to kill them. Nowhere is that clearer than the Tsavo lions. In 1898, during construction of a railway bridge in Kenya, workers began disappearing at night. Entire camps lived in fear. Men heard screams in darkness, but often found nothing by morning except disturbed sand and drag marks leading into the wilderness. The attackers were 2 male lions. Historical records suggest the lions killed dozens of workers over several months, though exact numbers remain debated. But what terrified people was not simply the deaths. It was the behavior. These lions repeatedly entered camps filled with fire, noise, and human activity. They adapted to human defenses. Imagine sleeping while knowing something outside is lurking. The workers became psychologically exhausted long before many were physically attacked. Fear destroyed sleep, destroyed concentration, destroyed morale. Some laborers reportedly refused to remain at the site entirely. Predators do not only attack bodies, they invade the nervous system. Modern researchers examining the Tsavo lions proposed several theories for their behavior, including environmental pressures and prey scarcity. But one possibility remained deeply unsettling. Once predators learn humans are vulnerable, that knowledge can spread behaviorally. And humans know this instinctively. That is why stories of man-eaters appear in nearly every civilization on Earth. Tigers in India, wolves in Europe, jaguars in South America, crocodiles in ancient Egypt. Humanity built myths around predators because predators shaped human psychology long before cities existed. Even today, people living near tiger territory in the Sundarbans understand something urban societies often forget. The forest does not care about human confidence. Locals entering certain areas sometimes wear masks on the backs of their heads because tigers prefer ambush attacks from behind. Think about how terrifying that reality is. Entire communities adapting daily life around the hunting psychology of another species. And yet, despite all these stories, modern humans still carry an illusion that technology removed them from nature. But the body disagrees. Your heartbeat accelerates when you hear unseen movement at night. Your muscles tense when something large moves suddenly nearby. Your eyes instinctively scan dark water even when logic says nothing is there. These are not irrational weaknesses. They are ancient survival systems written into human biology by thousands of generations who lived close to predators. Researchers studying evolutionary fear responses found that humans detect snake-like and predator-like patterns faster than neutral shapes. Even infants demonstrate heightened awareness around certain movement patterns associated with danger. The brain is not learning fear from scratch. It is refining something older. Your nervous system was built inside a violent world. And maybe that is why stories like these fascinate people so deeply. Because somewhere beneath modern life, humans still recognize the truth these encounters expose. Civilization is thinner than we pretend. Remove walls, lights, vehicles, weapons, and distance, and suddenly the species that built skyscrapers becomes another animal trying desperately to survive the dark. Nature never signed a peace treaty with humanity. It simply waited for humans to forget.